So if you're an OG subscriber of my channel, you might remember that Minari was one of the movies that kind of got my channel more exposure. As a Korean guy myself, I basically just claimed this already critically acclaimed movie surrounding a Korean family. Looking back on it, it's a pretty lazy reason to claim a movie in hindsight, but I always called them my family, to the point of getting comments asking if Steven Yeun was actually my dad. Now I obviously love Minari. It was my favorite film of that year as this small character focused family drama. So you can imagine my surprise when I heard that Lee Isaac Chung, the director, was going to take on this tornado-based spectacle summer blockbuster in Twisters. But as the cast was announced and the time went by, I thought, yeah, I'm all in on Twisters. What am I talking about? And people in my personal life know that every time the Twisters trailer came on in the theater, I'd go wild. Like Glen Powell would say, "If you feel it," and I'd scream, "Chase it," at the top of my lungs. Said, "If you feel it, you gotta chase it, man. Hurry up, dude. What the fuck?" Yeah. Anyways, I saw Twisters and it was solid. I'm a little disappointed though, I can't lie. And let me say off the bat, there's nothing about this movie that's like disastrous, no pun intended. Like there's no moment in this movie where I'm like, oh my god, this is where it all fell apart. Like no, there's some good moments in here which I'll get to. But I guess my disappointment stems from there's not much in this movie to really elevate it above any other average summer blockbuster. Like I saw some people say like, hey, there is so much heart in this movie and that's what really elevates it, which would make sense coming from the director of Minari. But I struggle to see it unless people are talking about a traumatic backstory that shapes the protagonist until said protagonist later on in the future has to come face to face with said traumatic event again. Unless that is what people are talking about in terms of the heart, then I don't know where it's really coming from. Now I should quickly preface my thoughts on the first Twister movie. Not that there's any real correlation between the two, not much. I think it's good. I think it's certainly a fine movie. I don't hold it in high regard as like a masterpiece or anything, nor do I have any nostalgia with it considering I was -1 years old. But I thought that movie had a good pace to it and it felt like each set piece and character moment kept building up into the climax in a way that felt natural. Whereas Twisters didn't gel as nicely as I wanted it to. And again, let me repeat, there are some great moments in here, but there are also some rather dull moments as well. I can't say I particularly cared for how some of the tornado chasing, especially in the first half of the movie, is framed. It's framed as like a live stream YouTube video, which I understand is ironic coming from me, but I don't know. I just didn't need it. Like I'd rather see the beautiful landscapes instead of people being like, "What's up, YouTube subscribers?" type shit. I don't know. It took a little bit for the movie to kind of get into a nice rhythm to me. And just a quick side note that has nothing to do with criticism at all, okay? I want everyone to understand that. This movie, this 2 hours, it was the most country music I've ever heard in my life. I really think that the amount of country music I heard in this 2-hour movie is more than my entire life combined, and I really don't think I'm exaggerating. Okay, back to the movie. I know I'm making it sound like this movie is pretty bad, and you know, I'm not trying to harp on it too much just because my expectations were high. Just remember what I said in the beginning, which is this was solid. First, I think the visual effects I thought were pretty good. You know, it's no Avatar: The Way of Water shit, but like it's a tornado destroying things. Like, yeah, they did the job right. And as mentioned, there are some great moments in here. There are 2 set pieces in particular that really stand out to me. And there's no spoilers here. I mean, not that I can even spoil this. Like, it's a fucking tornado. Like, there's nothing to spoil. But there is a rodeo set piece and then the kind of climactic scene towards the end. Both of those scenes are excellent. It just felt way more dangerous because in the first, I don't know, half of the movie, as I mentioned, yeah, there's tornadoes and it's like, you know, it's kind of messing things up to say the least. But it's in these like wide, like beautiful, like grass patches and landscapes. So like a big tornado in there, like, yeah, that's scary for sure. But if you take that same size tornado and you put it in a small town with more local pedestrians who aren't storm chasers, like the stakes are immediately raised up to 1,000. And Lee Isaac Chung does a very good job kind of incorporating these smaller character moments, especially with like the background extras, just to make it feel all that more dangerous. There's some good terrified acting from those extras and obviously the stars, and the production of it all is very impressive. Now, speaking of the acting, let's touch on that briefly. I've come to find out that Daisy Edgar Jones in a recent Hot Ones video just basically expressed her love of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. She said that she watches it all the time and she's just very inspired by the character of SpongeBob, which means as someone who has 3 of my top 4 on Letterboxd spots occupied by that movie, it means that Daisy Edgar Jones immediately jumps up my list of favorite actors. Now, having said that, I think her performance in here is perfectly serviceable. It's adequate. There's nothing really that stands out about it at all. It's kind of just like got the job done, weren't distracting, not bad. That's it. Now Glen Powell Now that's a different story. My cinephile journey has been quite interesting. I've kind of morphed into somewhat of a Glen Powell glazer. Pause. As I've mentioned, I think in some random videos before, I know a lot of people, especially in this space here, they'll see one movie, like one good movie with one good performance, and they'll immediately be like, oh, blank actor is a star now. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think star has to mean something. So I'll be the first to admit I held off on that title with Glen Powell for a little bit. I held off for as long as I could, but there is no denying this man, okay? Especially after the run of Anyone But You, and I'm not even talking about Top Gun Maverick, but Anyone But You, right to Hitman, right to Twisters. Bro does not know how to turn off the charm. He holds your attention, has great screen presence, and they put Glen Powell in a cowboy hat, and he's from Texas, so that's like he's in his natural habitat, you know. That's like Robert Downey Jr. putting on the Iron Man mask again. Like, I feel like that's just what he should be. And a quick shout out to Brandon Perea, who absolutely understands his assignment. While I expected more from this movie, like, don't get it twisted, that was unintentional right there. I'm fire with it. This is still a very serviceable blockbuster with some great scenes and Glen Powell in it, which means it is still worth your time. Twisters, 3 stars. Well, Twisters trailer, I'll miss you. You know, I will miss you from the If You Feel It, Chase It to We Got Twins. Like, I'll miss you. All right, nothing but love over here.